Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are pretty much ready to send up a simulated flight of our newly redesigned Pop Prod module, and this is going to be interesting. I mean, we're going to have less thrust to weight than we're used to. At least in our stage here. So that's definitely something to consider. And that's one of the reasons, yeah, go ahead and overwrite this. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that this was a simulated flight. Because I'm not actually sure if this is going to be enough. We'll see. I think we can get to orbit. But if we can't, well, if we can't, we can't. So SAS on. And off we go. I mean, this has plenty of thrust to weight, right? Like, that's not an issue. Hang on. Alden, you're not supposed to be here. Well, good thing this was simulated. Get out of here, Alden. Okay. Now let's try this again. In theory, this should work just fine. And let me actually just adjust my microphone a little bit here. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Throttle up, and off we go, this time without Alden. This is looking real wobbly already. I'm not liking the look of that. And my pop shield just fell over. Okay, this is not going well. Okay, I got that put back. And, I mean, the wobbliness of this appears to be stemming from this decoupler. I'm just checking right now on our apoapsis. I mean, we should probably be pitching over. We're through max Q at this point. Let's see if we can do this. Ooh, this is wanting to tumble. Yes, okay. So that's wanting to tumble. Oh, are we able to hold here? I mean, our apoapsis isn't high enough to hold here, really. Yeah, I think our problem is a lack of stability here. So let's revert that back, and let's just strut this up a little bit. Specifically, I want to strut this in here to here. And that should hold us through this phase much better. I don't know why it's asking me to overwrite every time. It's kind of weird. We'll just strut that in, and in theory, that should make this go a lot better. And I was a little late on the pitching over there, but that's kind of to be expected. This is definitely looking much more stable now. Yeah, this is looking way more stable. So we've got 60 seconds of burn time left in these SRBs. I'm going to try to start pitching a tiny bit over here. I don't want to go any further than this right now. Okay. Now we can go over a little further. This is so much more stable. It's amazing what 2 struts does. Like, seriously. Okay, at this point, we should be basically horizontal. There we go. We are now horizontal. And off goes our SRBs. Excellent. Now we're going to start wiggling again. This is expected. That we would lose this stability because it was the SRBs that were giving us the stability. Still not sure why this joint isn't liking to be stronger. Because it's definitely this joint right here. But I mean, overall, I think this is largely fine. I'm going to actually turn the SAS off. And just do this a little bit manually for right now. Okay, there we go. Okay, this should be fine. We are now out of the atmosphere, so we shouldn't have too many more issues in theory. Let's just cut the engines there. And we'll just circularize this to be something kind of like that. Head over to the maneuver node. We're going to want to burn this at T-minus 37.5 seconds. Now, do note that this module does not have RCS. That's okay. We don't need RCS to dock up. It's just handy. In fact, it's very, very handy. Maybe I should address this issue here. Yeah, I'm going to revert this one more time and address this issue right here. Specifically, I want to see if it will let me strut from here to here. And it does. So we'll also duplicate that and strut like this. That should solidify that issue. And the other thing that I wanted to do was just, I think, hang on. We don't need 2 remote guidance units. Okay, good thing I did this. I do want to add in a little bit of RCS, a little more than that. A little bit of RCS here. And just a tiny amount of RCS thrusters, just like this. The only reason we are using the RCS thrusters here is essentially as retro thrusters and course correction for the docking. We're not actually using them for RCS purposes. So let's see if this fixes the SRB detach wobble issue. It should. And we have some amount of RCS for our approach to the station. So this should be completely fine at this point. It looks ridiculous, but it'll be okay. I mean, the last one got into orbit. I just wasn't okay with the amount of wiggling that it had. It was just a little bit on the extreme side. Okay, so our apoapsis at 10 kilometers seemed to work pretty well for this thrust to weight. So we'll do that again. There we go. Now we get a tiny amount of horizontal speed. Just come over here a little bit. This is looking good. We're through max Q. Let's make our way to 45 degrees. Okay, that'll do. Just gonna hold here for a moment. Apoapsis is at 60, so we will now head for the horizon. We're gonna be ditching our SRBs in just a moment. There they go. Fantastic. And yeah, you can see this is way more stable at this point with these struts. It's still trying to waggle a bit, but it is more stable, and this is what I would call stable enough, at least so far. I mean, this is definitely trying to shake itself apart a little bit. I'm going to turn off gimbaling on these for right now and see if that helps. Yes. Yes, that does. Fantastic. Gonna cut these engines. And we are simply going to perform this maneuver. Glorious. Okay, this is a 1 minute 29 second burn, so we need to burn this at T minus 30 plus 14.5 seconds, so 44.5 seconds. I will physics warp as we turn over to this point. There we go. And in just a few seconds, we will get ourselves into orbit, and we'll have a little bit left over in our first stage here. And off we go to the Minmus station. Which of course currently has plenty of docking ports available, since we just sent both of the mining modules down to the surface. And we should be circularizing this with about 100 meters per second to spare, which is, of course, what we're going to throw. Well, we're going to throw more than that at our inclination change. So we're going to utilize that with our inclination change, and we'll also utilize some of this X-32 tank, as well as this X-32 equivalent tank, once we actually get to the station. I mean, we've got plenty of Delta V to make all of that happen. And we will be entering orbit momentarily. And this is definitely what a final flight looks like. Excellent. Good enough. Okay. So, of course, now we need to set Minmus as our target. And then at the ascending node here, I'm just going to put in a marker, and I want to check. I believe we are going normal. Nope, we are going anti-normal. Okay. So we'll go ahead and point at anti-normal. Of course, I'm not going to be utilizing the meters per second in this particular node. I'm going to be simply using this as a timer. So we will get oriented over to anti-normal. And then we will get our inclination changed. This is usually a couple hundred meters per second, and we are going to have to stage in it. So I'm just going to do that quickly. Okay, we are oriented in anti-normal right now. So let's just go ahead and warp to that maneuver. That'll put us about a minute away. Excellent. We'll warp a little closer. And now we'll burn out this stage. There we go. We will ditch this stage, and off we go. Get this last little bit of inclination change. We did get about half of our inclination change out of that first stage, so I'm reasonably happy with that. 2 degrees to go. One degree to go. Okay. We're now going to actually have to go back to normal, because I overshot slightly. And at the descending node, we are going to get that last 0.4 degrees. Physics warping on the way over. There we go. And now we'll just regular warp ahead a little ways. And that'll do. Perfect. Okay, so let's head out to Minmus. And I think right around here is where we want to do this burn. Maybe a little later. We'll see. Yeesh. It's a moon encounter. Yeah, slightly later on the burn. About like that or so. Even later. Yeah, more like this. That will be just fine for an encounter. Okay. Gonna physics warp as we make this turn. Going to extend our solar panels before I forget and we run out of electricity. That could have been bad. Luckily, we have batteries. Okay, we are oriented for the burn. And let's just warp to that maneuver. This is going to be a 2-minute, 59-second burn. So we are going to want to burn at 1 minute, 29 and 1/2 seconds. This is going to just burn out our exploration stage, actually. Which I'm slightly surprised by, but I mean, this is a heavier payload. So that's not, I guess, super duper surprising. We'll warp forward just a little bit more. To that sweet, sweet 1 minute, 29 and a half second mark. So right about now. And off we go to Minmus. In reality, we're probably not going to have to burn any of the of this stage for this burn. This will get us to where we want to go, but only just. So I mean, this one wasn't even all that massively overbuilt. I mean, it's still pretty massively overbuilt. We've got 2,000 Delta V in this. But this fuel will all get used, so that's fine. Little bit more time left in this burn, and by that, of course, I mean about 2 minutes. This is nothing compared to the Xenon burn that our satellite is going to have to do off camera. That's like a 37-minute burn, which is slightly insane, and is definitely not something that I'm going to do on camera. That is absolutely for sure. Okay, so we're going to need some DV when we get to Minmus, because we're going to need to circularize, change our inclination to match the retrograde motion of the other of the station, and then we're going to need to brake, get closer, perform the docking sequence, which will be done mostly with RCS. So that'll be, what, like 600 DV total, probably? I mean, we're definitely going to be using up the exploration stage. There's no doubt about that. But we've got 50 seconds left in this burn, 48 seconds left in the stage. We'll see if we get far enough to get out here. We may have to burn a couple of DV out of the module itself for this burn, but I really think that we're probably not going to have to. This last 100 meters per second is by far going to be the most impactful. And here comes our apoapsis, moving out exponentially quickly. Ah, we are going to have to burn a little bit. Okay. This is fine. This is good enough. We'll save that 0.5 meter per second. So at the periapsis here, we are just going to circularize a little bit. It doesn't really matter how much. Something kind of like this. And then, of course, we're going to have to match this inclination, which is going to be interesting. But this is next. So we can just go ahead and warp here. We do have time to do this before our nodes. Although we should probably do some of our nodes, or at least one of them, before we... Oh, hey, contract complete. Fantastic. There we go. We should probably do at least one of our nodes before we place anything else up here. And that is specifically the satellite, not the solar gateway. Solar gateway is still further out. Okay, so we want to do this at t-minus 14½ seconds. So we're almost there. This burn will be commencing right about now. It's always deceptively a lot of DV to get captured by Minmus at this distance. Have to be going real slow. Okay, that's good enough. Next. Sometime... Actually, we can just set this as our target and use the ascending and descending nodes here. Right about here, we're going to want to burn... That was actually going down, and I want it to go up. Towards 180. So, something kind of like this. Okay, that's very close right there. 79.9. Honestly, that's close enough. That'll do the trick. Excellent. So we'll just get set up for that maneuver node. There we go. We'll warp over there. Excellent, and we'll just get this burn done real quick. It's going to be kind of an awkward anti-normal retrograde burn. Actually, it's like, yeah, this is retrograde. Anti-normal retrograde is going to be the name of the game here. This is a 6-second burn, so we want to burn this at t-minus 3 seconds. So we will just warp ahead a little bit further here. Down to somewhere around... here. That'll do. Close enough. Okay. So there we go. At this point, we can flip over to retrograde and bring our retrograde down, or rather our periapsis down, and see how close we get on just this flyby. Probably not super close, because I didn't try to time this or anything, but we just burn this right about now. Right on down to over in here. That's reasonably close. So, of course, at the periapsis, we will simply bring this right on down. Actually, we probably don't even need to do it like this, do we? Hang on. How far down do we actually need to bring this? About like that. 1.7 kilometers. I mean, honestly, that'll be close enough. Just 0.1 meters per second, though. That's a bit of a yikes, honestly. Maybe we should take it around again. That's 0.4 kilometers, half a meter per second. Or we could just ignore it and be like, you know what? We're just going to pull this way down, like so. And I want an encounter that is going to be super duper close. Like that. That's only 3 days away as opposed to 8 days away. I think it's worth the extra, like, 30 delta V. At any rate, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to bring this module into dock. You can leave your offerings to the engagement mods. Mods? Apparently they're mods now. The gods are mods. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm so confused. But you can still leave your offerings in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.